So CNN has lost like 60% of its viewers. MSNBC's lost over 50%. And in the midst of that, CNN staged a rescue of a Syrian prisoner from one of the dungeons in Syria, Bashar al-Assad. They made a big production of it, and their reporter on the ground, Clarissa Ward, who normally does really good work, she's incredibly courageous being over in these war zones. Well, it turns out that the guy was one of the torturers. He was a lieutenant in Syrian Air Force intelligence and had tortured and unalived civilians for years, political prisoners, people who had spoken out against Bashar al-Assad's regime. He was one of the torturers, and he was acting like he was one of the inmates. And CNN made a great production out of finding him and rescuing him. Just when you think they couldn't wreck their credibility anymore. Unbelievable, man. We are so screwed. Happy Tuesday. Go do something that makes you feel good. I'm eating my feelings, and I'm finding that to be quite effective.
Hello?
I'm a civilian, he says. I'm a civilian. He tells the fighter he's from the city of Homs and has been in the cell for 3 months. Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. He clutches my arm tightly with both hands. Okay. Does anyone have any water? Water. My. Okay, it's water. It's water. Okay. Okay. Okay, you're okay. After 3 months in a windowless cell, he can finally see the sky.
انت حر انت حر الله ضوء روح روح يا الله حد اعصابك
My God, the light, he says. Oh God, there is light. My God, there is light.
Okay.
Okay. Stay with me. Stay with me. He repeats again and again. For 3 months, I didn't know anything about my family. I didn't hear anything about my children. The fighter hands him something to eat. He barely lift it to his mouth.
Okay.
But his body can't handle it. Okay, you're okay. His captors fled during the fall of Damascus, leaving him with no food or water. That was at least 4 days ago. I'm shaking. My face is shaking, he says. The rebel tells him there's no more army, no more prisons, no more checkpoints. Are you serious, he says? Surya Harra. Syria is free, he tells him. It's the first time he has heard those words.
Last week, CNN came under fire for what appeared to be a staged video in which one of their reporters rescues a man from a prison. Now, the man reportedly was in a windowless cell for 3 months. He did not eat or drink for 5 days, yet his fingernails were perfectly trimmed. He had a nice beard line. His skin was thick and hydrated. And when he exited the building, he looked up and said, "The light, the light." As everybody knows, even after a few hours in the darkness, bright lights hurt. But sure. They were largely accused of staging the whole thing, but now it's getting worse. CNN is being accused of accidentally committing treason. Yo, this is wild. A new story from the New York Post says prisoner that CNN helped free from Syrian prison was actually notorious Assad regime torturer. Okay, all right. We need to look at what the definition of treason is. But adhering to a nation's enemies and providing them aid and comfort typically falls under that umbrella. And with this report coming out, it may be that this CNN reporter accidentally committed treason. Now, I don't actually know if Clarissa Ward is an American citizen or whatever, and I'm being somewhat tongue-in-cheek. The issue is, the U.S. is largely opposed to the Assad regime. Assad has fled the country, issuing a statement saying it wasn't his intention, but Syrian soldiers had abandoned Tartus, so Russia evacuated him. I don't know about Clarissa Ward is the reporter. She's been accused of fabricating stories in the past. But if it is true that she aided a notorious Assad regime torturer, and the United States does consider the Assad regime to be enemies of this country, then she has just freed this man, and there you go. Now, okay. Accidental treason is not treason. It's just silly. Maybe accidentally. But the idea would be a traitor is someone who intentionally is going to assist like an Assad regime torturer. I think what we have here in this story is CNN's willingness and desperation. As their ratings continue to spiral, they will do and say anything to try and win an Emmy and get some ratings. And in this regard, a story that is obviously fake, they either willfully participated in the make-believe scenario, knowing, well, it's probably not real, or they were in on the whole thing from the get-go. Regardless, the core of the story right now is that according to a report, CNN did not just free a prisoner who was left behind. They freed an enemy of the state, an Assad regime torturer. You know, I was thinking this could be the case because if you're looking at why the story is they go in this prison. It's been cleared out. The Assad regime has collapsed and they find one cell. They're like, we're going to shoot the lock off. And they're like, turn the camera off. Like, we must turn the camera off while he's shooting off the lock, which is like not really a thing. Firing rifles